Are you tired of grass? The high maintenance, the mowing, the fertilizing, spending lots of money dumping water onto it? Might I suggest an alternative? Build a rockery. Here's how you can do that. Today we're going to replace this lawn with this rockery. Okay, let's get started. The first thing we have to do is move this grass from here over to here. Removing grass is a pretty straightforward process, although it is a bit labor intensive. First, grab a hold of a digging bar and cut the grass into manageable sizes. Then slide a trenching shovel underneath the grass. It'll come right up. If you need to remove some roots, consider bringing in some outside help that specializes in digging. However, remember, if it's a nice day, your help may decide just to take a nap. You're going to want to lower the level of the dirt to make room for the rock. How far down you're going to take it depends on two things: what kind of rock you're going to use, and how thick you're going to make it. We decided to go with 3/4 inch Canadian granite. So the next thing we need to know is how much rock do we need. To figure this out, I'm afraid to tell you, you're going to have to use some math. First, make a rough sketch of the area you're working with. The area within the red is where we're going to be putting the rock. Normally, to find an area of a shape like this, you would need to use calculus. However, let me show you an easier way to estimate the area that will actually be close enough for rock work. First, break it down into two separate squares. While you're making your measurements, try to arrange it so that the area of this triangle outside of your gravel bed is about the same size as the area of this triangle that is in your gravel bed. Here's why I did this. Because we made a square, the top triangle was not included in our calculations. But we need to put gravel there. So the bottom triangle was included in our calculations, but it doesn't require any gravel to be put there. As a result, the bottom triangle offsets the missing triangle on top, and you'll wind up with the correct amount of gravel. Now to find area, it's a simple matter of length times width times depth. That turns out to be 3,432 square inches. The bottom square is 8640 square inches. Add the areas of the two squares together and you know how many cubic inches of gravel you need. Many places you buy gravel from want to know how many cubic yards you're getting, not cubic inches. To convert, just divide your number by 46,656. That'll tell you how many cubic yards you need. For budgeting purposes, I ran the numbers for three different depths: 3 inches, 2.5 inches, and 2 inches. Obviously, the less gravel you buy, the cheaper this project will be. In April of 2022, Canadian granite was running around $142 a ton. Let's find out how much this is going to cost us. I contacted the rock place, and they told me 0.259 cubic yards will weigh about 750 pounds. So let's do some more math. Luckily, this is a simple ratio calculation. On the left side, if 2,000 pounds costs $142, and on the right side, 750 pounds is X, which represents an unknown cost. Now we just cross multiply. After the multiplication, we get 106,500 is equal to 2,000x. To isolate x and figure out what it is, divide both sides of your equation by 2,000. This means my gravel is going to cost me $53.25. So now we know how much rock we need, and we have an idea of what it's going to cost us. As a quick side note, after reviewing the video I've done up to this point, I realized I made an error. I stated we're looking for the area of these squares. Area is length times width. But once you add depth, it turns the square into a cube. So we're actually looking for the volume, not the area. But other than nomenclature, everything I've told you is still correct. Since we're going to have plants in our rockery, we'll want to set up a drip irrigation system to water them. You want to dig a hole to gain access to the sprinkler head that used to water the grass. Remove the sprinkler head and replace it with an octopus drip system. This will allow you to run multiple drip lines at the same time. We dig holes, 2 for miniature trees and 1 for an ornamental grass. Here's the weird thing about this. Notice I'm putting in 3 plants. That's an odd number. If you take a landscaping course, you'll find out that odd numbers look more natural. If you put in an even number, it looks pretty man-made. And something else we're going to do that's a little different, we're not planting the plants into the ground. We'll put them into pots and then put the pots into the ground. We do this for 3 different reasons. The first, we want to limit the size of these miniature trees. This is easily done by controlling the size of the pot that they're growing in. The second reason is, if we want to do maintenance on these plants, we want to be able to get them out of the ground easily, without disturbing the rocks. We do this by first lining the pot with landscape fabric that hangs out. Then plant your tree into the pot. Then put your pot into the ground, laying the extra landscape fabric out flat. This landscape fabric will be underneath your rock, so you only have to move a little bit to get access to it. Now, if you need to pull this tree out of the ground, move a little bit of rock off of the landscape fabric. Grab the extra fabric like it was a handle, and you can pull straight up on it, and the tree should pop right out of the pot. The rest of your rockery is undisturbed. And finally, the third reason. If you look at these holes, you'll see there's a lot of roots. Those are all from the neighbor's trees. The pots will keep these roots away from our miniature trees, so the water from our drip irrigation system goes to our tree, not the neighbor's trees. Okay, moving on. I put down 2 layers of landscape fabric, cutting the fabric so I'll be able to install my pots. Install your pots. Now you can put down your crushed granite. You may find your granite keeps spilling into your pots. This is easily fixed. Simply surround your pots with a ring of larger rocks. Make troughs in your granite and route your plumbing. Then cover up the hoses with your granite. Now it's invisible. What's not invisible is this ugly old octopus head. Let's fix that. I introduced to you a special type of volcanic rock. This is called featherstone. It's a type of pumice that's mostly air. This large rock only weighs about 2 pounds. What we're going to do is cover that octopus head with this featherstone. However, before this plan will work, you're going to have to modify it. This stone is extremely easy to work with. You could even use something as simple as an electric drill. On the bottom of the stone, you want to cut out a hole large enough to cover up the plumbing that's sticking out of the ground. If you find it's taking too long using a drill bit, and you're a metal worker, you may have some damaged dies from a die grinder just laying around. It's now useless for cutting metal, but it works perfectly on a featherstone. When you're finished, it's practically a work of art. It's a shame to cover it up. That's about it. This thing practically put itself together. For those of you interested in the nitty-gritty details, the plants that we used are a dwarf Japanese pine tree. The other tree is a dwarf pine out of Austria, and a blue fescue grass. Well, thanks for watching.